there, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. Today we are making jam and cream filled lamingtons. Who doesn't like lamingtons, eh? So here's what we need. Now I couldn't find a sponge cake, so yesterday what I did was I made a butter cake. So it's had 24 hours to sort of sit and stand. I've cut it into diagonal, horizontal, whatever half. This baby here. Got all my ingredients ready. I made lamingtons years ago and I remember it being like a workstation where you got your cake and you dunking it from one to the other. So I'm setting up a workstation. So if you can't get the sponge cake, cook just a butter cake or a chocolate cake and cut it in half. Once it's cool, of course, because we're going to sandwich it. Alright, let's get ready. So, first of all, warm that half a cup of raspberry jam. And the only reason why you're warming it is so that it's easier to spread. I'm going to just give that a quick another 30 seconds. And then we had half a cup of cream as well. Now, it's a good idea to get a spatula or my handy spreading tool. I'm going to need two because we're doing jam and then we're doing cream. So, still a little bit of labour involved with this, but as I said, the butter cake was the easier option. If you want to make a more chocolatey lamington, just get a chocolate cake. You don't need to get the best chocolate cake because you certainly don't need the frosting. If you want to, you can make your own cake from scratch. Whatever's easier for you. Okay, so now our jam's nice and warm. So we're going to just spread this on. We might find that we've got too many ingredients with some things, but in a way it's good because I had half a packet of icing sugar in the cupboard and I had some leftover cocoa, and then I had some extra coconut. Well, actually I brought an extra coconut just in case. Alright, so go right to the edge. Don't be stingy on the jam. The jam's one of the best bits. Spread that there. Okay. Then you want a spatula on that whipped cream. Now what we're going to do before we cut this is we're going to put it in the fridge for 15 minutes, and that's just so that it can firm up. Beautiful. As I said in my intro, who does not like lamingtons? They're a bit labour intensive, but as I say, it's a fun one, especially if you want to do this with the kids or something in the school holidays. Get them in the kitchen. Alright, pop that one on top. So we've got a sandwich. Okay, I'm just going to put that in the fridge as is. 15 minutes, put the timer on, and we'll be back. And in the meantime, we're going to start and make our icing and get our stations ready. Okay, so our next step involves a bowl and a sifter. The recipe says to use a large heat-proof bowl. Unfortunately, my heat-proof bowl is only half this size, so I'm just going to have to do this in the saucepan and be very careful. However, normally I do have a smaller bowl that can sit over simmering water. So if you don't have that option, you're just going to have to do it in a saucepan at a very, very low heat. Okay. Chuck that through the sieve. And we're going to put the cocoa in here as well. Just so everything's a bit finer. Chuck that through as well. Melt your 20 grams of butter in the microwave. 30 seconds should be plenty. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start and add this into our cocoa and icing sugar mixture. Then we'll have to put it in a saucepan and put it over a very low heat. So I've fitted it all in a small saucepan. So I'm just going to make a bit of a well, put some milk in, give it a stir, and then just keep going with that. Once you get all that in, then you need to get that melted butter in as well. Perfect. Just keep getting bigger and bigger with your circles until eventually it's all mixed in. Just mix it until it's smooth, and then we need to put it over the saucepan of boiling water, which I probably could put the saucepan over the saucepan. And we just need to thicken it. So we don't want a runny icing sugar mixture here. So if we get lucky and it's actually thick, I don't really think it needs to have that long, because it's pretty thick. And I haven't even mixed it all in. I'm just getting bigger and bigger with my circles. You can use a wooden spoon or a spatula, but I just find it easier to use what I'm already using. It's not a very thick icing, but it's not super thin though. That's what I mean. By the time we had everything in, it shouldn't really not be thick. Okay, so that's what we've got. So I'm going to put this over a very low heat and just until it starts to thicken. So we've got another 5 minutes before we're ready to take the cake out of the fridge. So I'm just going to, I always have to start this on 6 just to crank it up, and then I'll turn it down. So we just need it to be thick, which, as I say, it already is, but I think if it's warm, it'll be easier to work with as well. So that's my theory. And I have my, you want a cake rack ready for when we do the icing, and it's a good idea to put that over a tray so you don't get any spillage, because you will get some spillage. So best thing to do is just grab one of your oven trays. So that will act as a bit of a guard, like so. Perfect. Okay, that doesn't want much longer. So I've just taken the lamington out of the fridge. We're going to cut that into 15 squares. Maybe not 15, I don't know. We'll see how we go. That's nearly coming to the boil. So over to the cake. Here's our cake. Best way to cut a cake is to cut it in half and then cut it in half again. And then cut it again. Basically just keep cutting it in halves. Now we're still getting a bit of slippage on this one. It's alright, my spoon just fell down and I thought my chocolate exploded. That's 8. I'm going to actually end up cutting it into 16 squares. There's going to be those dainty little lamingtons. Now if they still seem a bit soft, don't stress because they have to go in the fridge to set once we frost them anyway. So all good. Right, that's ready to roll. The way I like to do it is to get a plate to put your coconut on and then just quickly grab a fork and just make sure there's no clumps in it. Perfect. I'm going to leave the frosting at that, but in all honesty, it was thicker before I started melting it, so yay. Alright, so here comes the fun part. Grab yourself 2 forks. Actually, no, I'm going to put the icing on into another bowl as well, so it's just going to be easier to maneuver. It's good because it's a bit of a bowl as well. So I'm just going to tip that icing into there. Okay. See, I'm thinking it got too hot, so it started to unthicken. But anyway, I'll sort it out. Alright. So grab your first piece, in it goes. Now, they say to use 2 forks, which I do agree is the best way of doing this, because this way you can actually swirl it around. And then straight over into the coconut. Get that coconut all over the top. And if it looks like it's going to start to come apart, tell it no and put it back together. Alright, and there we go. Alright, so we're going to keep going. So best thing to do is to get a few in. That's why I said to transfer it into a plate, because you can actually let it sit there. As I say, this is a fun thing to do with 2 people. First time I think I made lamingtons, I had my mum helping me, and it was fun to just be going, one goes from one to the other, and it was a good little thing. Roll them around. Alright, perfect. I'm going to try and bring that closer actually, because there's going to be massacres going on otherwise. I don't really like the idea of sitting it on my cookbook, so I'll move that and I'll move that. Alright, here we go. Let's go. Ah. So I did apply for MasterChef, and entries finished or closed yesterday. So I'll let you know how I go with that one. Very interesting to see how far I actually got this time. But you know what they say, if you don't make it, don't give up. Because this is why I'm learning a lot of new skills. This lamington actually doesn't want to stay together, but as I say, they will once we start to put them in the fridge. They're going to set in the fridge nearly all day anyway, so it'll be fine. Could be the icing as well. Not very impressed with how that turned out. Now, if your coconut starts to get really clunky because of all the extra chocolate in it, just quite simply do the last ones and just sprinkle the coconut over the top, like so. And then just lift these ones out very delicately because they're very fragile. Put those on your tray. Once they're all on the tray, they're going in the fridge. I'd leave them in there for the day if you can. And then they'll be ready to eat. So yeah, obviously with most things they do get a bit messy, so maybe while you're doing the coconut part, do 1 cup of coconut, and then when it starts to get yucky, do another cup. This one's actually going to fall apart, even though I told it not to. But it'll still be fine, sort of, kind of, but not really. If I can move some of the other ones around. Here, give me a bit more room to put the very last one in the middle there. Okay, well, I'm going to start and clean up now, so just get this last one in. So thank you for watching Cooking with Violet Vixen, Lamington edition. Enjoy your lamingtons, and I'm going to catch you next time. Bye.